The Galactic Empire had ruled without question for centuries. Its fleets were vast, stretching from one side of the galaxy to the other, and its council chambers were filled with voices that demanded obedience. Every alien species that lived under its shadow had learned to follow its rules or risk destruction. The Empire was strong, proud, and unchallenged. Yet whispers began to travel from the far reaches of space, stories of a species that survived where no one else could. These whispers spoke of humans, creatures who lived on worlds that could kill any other being within moments. Storms tore through the surface with lightning that burned, winds that could strip flesh, and oceans of acid. Yet humans were seen walking, working, and thriving. It was not just one planet, but several, each more dangerous than the last, and it was not a single human, but many who defied the odds. The scouts who first observed them returned pale and shaken, their reports full of hesitation. The captain of one scout ship looked at the council and said simply, "Impossible. No one could explain how humans survived such harsh conditions, yet here they were, alive and thriving." The council murmured among themselves, confused and skeptical. They had never encountered a race that did not fear death, a race that could endure anything nature threw at them. Some dismissed it as exaggeration, but others felt unease creeping into their hearts. Daniel, a human envoy, had arrived on the frontier world with his team, Laura and Chris. They were ordinary in appearance, wearing simple clothes and carrying no visible weapons. Yet when they moved, there was a confidence in their step, a calm in their eyes that unsettled even the most experienced alien observers. The Empire sent envoys to meet them, expecting a weak race begging for protection or trade. Instead, Daniel spoke with clarity and calm, asking for fair treatment and respect. The council, however, laughed at their words. Aliens mocked their size, their frail bodies, and what they believed to be a short lifespan. Yet Daniel did not flinch. Laura did not blink. Chris did not raise his voice. They stood quietly, yet each word they spoke carried weight. Some of the alien commanders began to whisper among themselves, sensing something dangerous in the calm of humans. Rumors spread quickly. Patrols sent to test human strength or to intimidate them never returned. Colonies reported seeing humans lifting massive starship parts with bare hands, walking through storms of fire and acid without injury, and healing from wounds that would kill any other being. The Empire debated, trying to decide whether these were true reports or exaggerated tales. Daniel's voice remained steady, repeating in every council meeting, "We do not want war, but we will not bow." The Empire laughed at first, thinking these humans were bluffing. But the more they observed, the more fear grew. The humans never sought power or conquest, yet they exuded an aura of inevitability. When the Empire decided to test them, sending troops to surround a human settlement on a barren world, they expected compliance. They did not expect the humans to stand outside their shelters, unarmed, and face a fleet without fear. Laura stepped forward and warned them to leave, but her voice carried more than words. It carried certainty. The alien soldiers fired, expecting to see collapse, yet the humans remained standing. Slowly they advanced, their eyes glowing faintly, their movement steady and unstoppable. Panic spread among the soldiers. Whispers of godlike beings spread through the ranks, voices trembling with disbelief. The Empire demanded answers. Daniel stood in the grand chamber, tall and calm, his voice carrying across the hall. "We come from a death world," he said, "a world that forges strength from suffering, that teaches survival where none should exist. You mocked us because you did not understand. Now you do." The council was silent, the arrogance of centuries broken. Humanity had shown no fleets, no weapons, yet they were more powerful than anything the Empire had imagined. The choice was clear. Accept humans as equals or face consequences beyond imagination. The final test came when the Empire sent its greatest fleet to crush the humans. Hours later, transmissions ended. Survivors spoke of impossible feats. Humans tearing through metal hulls, surviving explosions, fighting until only silence remained. Fear swept across the stars. The Empire trembled. Godlike humans had emerged, and no one would ever see the galaxy the same way again. Every world whispered the same question. Were these beings protectors or the end of empires? Humans moved quietly without boast or anger, but every step they took left the galaxy in awe and fear. Their eyes held secrets no one could understand, and their strength seemed to come from the very planet they had conquered through endurance and will. The Council had learned a lesson that would echo for centuries. Power was not in ships or weapons, but in those who could survive and endure beyond imagination. and humanity had arrived to remind the galaxy of that truth. Daniel, Laura, and Chris had settled on the edge of the galactic empire, on a planet that was harsh and unforgiving. The air was thin, storms came without warning, and the terrain shifted from sharp cliffs to deep craters in moments. Yet humans moved as if the land itself obeyed them. They built shelters with simple tools, yet those shelters withstood storms that could destroy entire cities of aliens. Word of their resilience spread quickly, reaching every corner of the empire. The council watched closely, uneasy about this growing human presence. When the humans first contacted the empire's officials, expectations were low. Daniel spoke clearly, offering simple trade and fair relations. Laura smiled calmly, her presence commanding without a word. Chris observed quietly, noting every reaction, every twitch of the alien envoys. The council laughed and mocked them, calling their bodies weak and fragile, calling their intelligence primitive. Yet Daniel never raised his voice. He never argued. He spoke slowly, calmly, showing respect even when insulted. It was a strange power, a quiet strength that unsettled even the most arrogant council members. Some alien commanders whispered to one another, sensing danger in this calm. They had seen humans before in reports, but seeing them in person was different. The humans did not panic, did not beg, and did not flee. They simply existed as if nothing in the galaxy could touch them. Rumors began to spread across the frontier and the colonies. Patrols sent to watch or intimidate humans often never returned. Colonists whispered about humans lifting fallen starships with bare hands, walking through fires and storms that would kill any other being. Soldiers told stories of humans surviving wounds that would be fatal, recovering within hours, leaving no scars. The empire was divided. Some generals laughed, calling the stories exaggerated. Others felt unease, realizing that humans might be something beyond comprehension. In meetings, Daniel always said, "We do not want war, but we will not bow." His voice never shook, even when confronted by the council's harshest ministers. The humans showed no desire for conquest, yet their calm confidence unnerved everyone. The empire decided to test them. Troops were sent to the human settlement on a distant world. The soldiers expected fear and submission. Instead, they found humans standing outside their shelters, unarmed, waiting. Laura stepped forward, warning them to leave immediately. The soldiers laughed and fired. Beams of energy cut through the air. But when the smoke cleared, the humans were still standing. Slowly they advanced. Their eyes glowed faintly, a light that seemed to come from the planet itself. Panic spread. Soldiers whispered to each other, saying these humans were not mortals but something else. The Empire's council demanded answers. Daniel stood before them, tall and composed. "We come from a death world," he said, "a world that teaches survival through suffering. You mocked us because you did not understand. Now you do." His words silenced the chamber. The arrogance of centuries could not stand against the simple truth of human endurance. Daniel did not need weapons, ships, or fleets to command respect. His presence alone shifted the balance of power. When the Empire sent its greatest fleet to test humans hours later, transmissions ended. Survivors spoke of feats that seemed impossible. Humans tore through metal hulls, survived explosions, and fought until only silence remained. Fear spread across the stars. The Empire trembled. Godlike humans had emerged. No species could ignore them. Humanity moved quietly without boasting. Yet every action left the galaxy in awe. Their strength came from their endurance, their will, and a spark that defied explanation. The Council had learned a lesson it would not forget. True power was not in weapons or fleets, but in the ability to survive, to endure, and to rise beyond what seemed possible. Humanity had arrived, and the galaxy would never be the same again. The humans had settled into the outer colonies of the Galactic Empire, their presence quietly reshaping the way life existed on the harsh planets. Each human moved with confidence, their bodies and minds seemingly made to endure anything the world could throw at them. Daniel, Laura, and Chris traveled among the settlements, observing, helping, and learning about the lives of their people. Aliens watched them from afar, curious and skeptical. Rumors about human strength and resilience spread quickly through the Empire. Patrols that had been sent to intimidate humans often did not return. Reports described humans lifting enormous debris, walking through storms of fire and acid without harm, and healing injuries in ways that defied understanding. The Empire's council began to feel unease. They had always been certain of their control, but humans challenged that certainty without even raising a weapon. Meetings were held, arguments made, but the humans kept their words calm and precise. Daniel would say, "We do not seek war, but we will not bow." No matter how much the council mocked them, his presence remained steady, unwavering. Laura moved among the humans with quiet strength, offering guidance and reassurance. Chris documented everything, analyzing patterns, studying how humans adapted and survived with speed and intelligence. They worked without haste, but their actions carried precision. The Empire could not ignore what they were seeing. Fear began to grow among alien commanders, especially those who had seen humans in direct encounters. The council debated, some insisting humans were a threat to be destroyed immediately. Others argued that they were still small, still weak, and could be ignored for now. The humans showed no desire for conquest, yet their very existence challenged centuries of assumptions about power and survival. Daniel and his team had started to send messages across colonies, urging others to remain calm, to be patient, and to observe. The Empire's forces grew restless, impatient with human restraint. One day, a fleet was dispatched to surround a human settlement on a barren planet, expecting the humans to submit. The soldiers approached with confidence, ready to display the Empire's might. They expected fear. They expected surrender, but humans waited unarmed, standing together. Laura stepped forward, her voice calm but firm, warning the soldiers to leave. The soldiers fired, but the humans did not flinch. Slowly they advanced. Their eyes glowed faintly, an unspoken strength radiating from every step. Panic spread among the soldiers. Whispers traveled through the ranks, words of disbelief. These were no ordinary beings, these were something else, something stronger. The Empire demanded an explanation. Daniel was brought before the council, standing tall and composed. "We come from a death world," he said, "a world that teaches survival through suffering. You mocked us because you did not understand. Now you do." The council fell silent. Centuries of arrogance could not withstand the simple truth of human endurance. Daniel did not need ships or weapons to command respect. His presence alone was enough to challenge the Empire's pride. When the Empire sent its greatest fleet to test humans, the result was devastating. Hours later, transmissions stopped. Survivors spoke of impossible feats, humans tearing through metal hulls, surviving explosions and fighting until only silence remained. Fear swept across the galaxy. The Empire trembled. Godlike humans had emerged. Humanity moved without boasting, but every step left the galaxy in awe. Their strength came from endurance, willpower, and a spark that defied understanding. The Council had learned a lesson they could not forget. True power was not measured in weapons or fleets, but in the ability to survive and rise beyond what seemed possible. Humanity had arrived, and nothing in the galaxy would ever be the same again. The humans continued to live on the outer worlds of the Galactic Empire, thriving where no other species could survive. Storms of fire, freezing winds, and oceans of acid did not slow them. Daniel, Laura, and Chris led their people with quiet confidence, moving from settlement to settlement, teaching survival, endurance, and cooperation. The Empire could no longer ignore them. Alien patrols were sent to test human strength and submission, but most never returned. When fleets approached human settlements expecting compliance, they found humans standing tall, unarmed, waiting without fear. The Empire thought the humans would beg for mercy, but they did not. Laura stepped forward to speak, her voice calm, warning the alien forces to leave immediately. The aliens laughed and fired their weapons, but the humans did not falter. Slowly they advanced, their eyes glowing faintly, their movements steady and unstoppable. Panic spread quickly among the soldiers. Whispers of godlike beings traveled through their ranks. Some turned to flee, others froze in disbelief, unsure how to react. The council demanded answers. Daniel stood before them, his presence commanding the room. "We come from a death world," he said. "A world that teaches survival through suffering. You mocked us because you did not understand. Now you do." Silence filled the chamber. The Empire's pride was shaken. Humans showed no weapons, no fleets, yet they radiated power. Their endurance, their will, and their ability to survive was unmatched. The Empire realized that humans were not to be underestimated. Colonies that had reported human feats began to notice even more. Humans lifting massive debris, surviving storms of fire and acid, healing from wounds that would be fatal to any other species. Daniel continued to guide his people calmly, speaking to colonies and gathering support without aggression. The Empire grew anxious. They had faced rebellion before, but nothing like this. Humans were patient yet unstoppable. When the Empire sent a fleet to crush a human settlement, the results were catastrophic. Hours later, transmissions ceased. Survivors spoke of humans tearing through metal hulls, surviving explosions and fighting without exhaustion until only silence remained. Fear swept through the galaxy. The Empire trembled. Godlike humans had emerged, and their presence changed the balance of power. Humanity moved quietly without boast, but every action left the galaxy in awe. Their strength came from endurance, willpower, and a spark that defied explanation. The Council learned a lesson they could not forget. True power did not come from ships or weapons alone, but from the ability to survive and rise beyond what seemed possible. Humanity had arrived, and the galaxy would never be the same again. Every corner whispered the same question. Were these humans protectors or something more terrifying? The humans had become a presence the Galactic Empire could no longer ignore. Daniel, Laura, and Chris moved among colonies, guiding and teaching their people how to endure the harshest environments. Every human seemed capable of surviving storms, acid rains, and violent terrain with ease. Their strength and endurance became legendary. The Council of the Empire grew uneasy as reports came in from the frontier. Patrols that had been sent to intimidate humans were often never seen again. Colonists told stories of humans lifting enormous debris, surviving explosions, and healing from injuries that would kill any other species. The Empire debated what to do. Some ministers laughed, thinking the humans were exaggerated stories, while others grew fearful, realizing that these beings could not be controlled or destroyed easily. Daniel kept his calm, speaking in every council meeting, "We do not seek war, but we will not bow." His calm strength unnerved even the most confident council members. Laura moved among the humans with quiet authority, offering guidance, reassurance, and instruction. Chris documented every encounter, observing patterns, noting weaknesses and strengths, understanding the humans and teaching them to refine their skills. When the Empire finally sent a fleet to intimidate or attack a human settlement, the humans did not panic or flee. They stood outside their shelters unarmed, waiting. Laura stepped forward, warning the aliens to leave immediately. The soldiers laughed and fired, but the humans advanced without fear. Their eyes glowed faintly, their steps steady and unrelenting. Panic spread through the alien ranks. Soldiers whispered in disbelief. These humans were not ordinary beings, they were something beyond comprehension. The council demanded answers. Daniel stood in the grand chamber, his presence calm and commanding. "We come from a death world," he said, "a world that teaches survival through suffering. You mocked us because you did not understand. Now you do." The chamber fell silent. The Empire realized that humans had no need for weapons or fleets to display power. Their endurance, intelligence, and will were enough. Humans could survive any environment, overcome any obstacle, and rise stronger than ever. The final test came when the Empire's greatest fleet moved to destroy a human settlement. Hours later, all transmissions stopped. Survivors spoke of humans tearing through metal hulls, surviving explosions and fighting without exhaustion until nothing remained. Fear spread through the galaxy. The Empire trembled. Godlike humans had emerged, and the balance of power had shifted forever. Humanity moved quietly without boast, yet every action left the galaxy in awe. Their strength came from endurance, courage, and a spark that defied comprehension. The Council learned a lesson it could not forget. True power was not measured in ships or fleets, but in the ability to endure, survive, and rise beyond what seemed possible. Humanity had arrived, and nothing in the galaxy would ever be the same again. Every world whispered the same question. Were these humans protectors or something far more terrifying than the Empire had ever imagined? The humans had arrived at a turning point in the galaxy. Daniel, Laura, and Chris led their people across the outer worlds of the Empire, moving quietly but with authority. The colonies flourished under their guidance, surviving storms, toxic air, and violent terrain that no other species could endure. Stories of their strength spread quickly, terrifying and astonishing the Empire. Patrols sent to intimidate or challenge humans often never returned. Colonists spoke of humans lifting massive wreckage, surviving deadly explosions, and healing injuries that would be fatal to anyone else. The Empire debated what to do, some laughing and dismissing the humans as weak while others grew uneasy, sensing something beyond their understanding. Daniel remained calm, repeating in every meeting, "We do not want war, but we will not bow." Laura guided the humans with quiet strength, and Chris observed and documented everything, noting patterns and learning how humans adapted to survive and thrive. When the Empire sent a fleet to test human settlements, they found men and women standing unarmed, waiting without fear. Laura stepped forward and warned the soldiers to leave immediately. The soldiers fired, expecting fear, but the humans advanced steadily, their eyes glowing faintly, their presence unshakable. Panic spread quickly. Soldiers whispered, saying these humans were not ordinary, that they were beyond comprehension. Daniel was summoned before the council. He stood tall and calm, his voice carrying across the chamber. "We come from a death world," he said, "a world that teaches survival through suffering. You mocked us because you did not understand. Now you do." Silence fell over the council. Humans had shown no fleets or weapons, yet they radiated power. Their endurance, intelligence, and will were unmatched. The Empire could not ignore them. When the Empire sent its greatest fleet to destroy human settlements, transmissions ceased within hours. Survivors spoke of impossible feats. Humans tore through metal hulls, survived explosions, and fought without exhaustion until only silence remained. Fear spread across the galaxy. The Empire trembled. Godlike humans had emerged. Humanity moved quietly without boasting. Yet every action left the galaxy in awe. Their strength came from endurance, courage, and a spark that defied explanation. The Council learned a lesson it could not forget. True power did not come from ships or weapons alone, but from the ability to survive, endure, and rise beyond what seemed possible. Humanity had arrived, and nothing in the galaxy would ever be the same again. Every world whispered the same question. Were these humans protectors or the end of empires? Daniel, Laura, and Chris continued to lead, quietly guiding humanity through each challenge. Their people thrived, always ready, always enduring, always moving forward. The Empire had ruled with arrogance and pride, but humans had shown that strength, courage, and resilience could topple even the mightiest. The galaxy would remember the rise of humans forever, a force that could not be ignored, a presence that changed everything. The whispers grew louder, telling of humans who walked through storms, survived deadly trials, and rose stronger than ever. Every alien species knew that the era of godlike humans had begun, and the balance of power had shifted for all time.